with just 3 days to go to the elections now, we take you to the Results and Operations Centre, The Rock in Midrand, where colleague Chriselda Lewis is on standby to weave in some of those important conversations as we head up to those all-important elections. Chriselda, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Mkolisi. Indeed, it is crunch time, and you could sort of feel the atmosphere, of what's to come in the next couple of days, with all the campaigning, as I indicated, that had been taking place over the past couple of months. Lots of promises that have been made by these political parties, but everything, culminates to what will be taking place starting tomorrow, in fact, because we have those special votes that will be taking place tomorrow and on Tuesday. I'm one of those special voters because obviously we've got lots of work to do. But yes, Wednesday, of course, is that big day where you have these millions of South Africans who are going to go out and cast their vote as well. The IEC has been telling us for quite some time now that in terms of the state of readiness, it's all systems go for the country's election on Wednesday. And I guess it's up to South Africans now to go out and in their numbers, in their millions, and to participate certainly in this process. But a lot has been said. We've been analysing what these political parties have been doing in the run-up to Wednesday's election. All the campaigning door to door, they've gone to churches, they've been happening in community halls, really trying to convince the electorate to place that mark next to their political party. But we'll have to wait and see. But this is, of course, the Results Operations Centre, and this is where, from about when the polls close on Wednesday, that board that I spoke about behind me, that's all going to change. Still sitting at 0 at the moment, but that's going to give us an indication. Also, you'll see on the floor, and I will show you in about the next hour, where political parties will also be here, and I think every one of us is going to be watching that board very closely. But I want to bring in now Dr. McKinley, who's going to chat to us, a political analyst who's going to chat to us a bit about what's been happening over the past couple of months. Where are we now? And Doc, thank you very much indeed for your time. We really do appreciate it. It's been months and months of campaigning. So many promises have been made, to the electorate. Lots of door-to-doors, in churches, in community halls and town halls. But what do you make of what we've seen taking place over the past couple of months with these political parties? There are new players in the field now as well.
Yeah, so I think what's different about this elections is the number of players out there. It's just skyrocketed. So we know, 10 years, 20 years ago, it was 3 or 4 key parties, and we were pretty much concentrating on those. And now what we have is we have all sorts of splits, all sorts of new parties, upcoming ones. And so the offering, if you look at it as a menu, a political menu or electoral menu, the offerings on that menu are much greater than they were.
Yes.
And so therefore the differences are quite, there's quite a lot to choose from, because you have everything from, of course, the ANC, the largest party, which is appealing to people's loyalty, and we, keep with us, we'll keep doing, yes, we need to do better, but we're going to do this, to the brand new and newcomer like the Patriotic Alliance, which is appealing to a very specific section of the population and has quite a controversial message but they're thinking that's the constituency. And then the NK party. So you've got this cacophony in some ways of politics, and I think for the voters, it's a very, very interesting period in this last while, because they're being presented with a range of different options for choices, electoral choices, and I think that's what's quite different.
That's a good thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's. I think. Many people. The dominant discourse of this election is the ANC going to lose its majority? But I think what is underneath that is that our democracy is maturing. It's a good thing. People might be upset that they're losing support, but it's a good thing that we have more choices. It's a good thing that there are other players there. Some of them are not so serious. We know they're sort of what we call popcorn parties in some ways, but nonetheless, this is a good sign that we have a situation where people feel free to offer different ideological positions, different politics, even some of them quite controversial. That's okay. That's what democracy is about. It can get messy, but it's better that we have that choice as opposed to just a very small.
What does the terrain look like now? There's been a lot of talk of coalitions, What sense do we get from these political parties now? Are they still speaking to each other? or are they speaking against each other? Are they pointing to the differences between themselves and more referencing themselves? What are we seeing now?
I think we're seeing a little bit more of the latter.
Yeah.
I think as we enter into this, basically, as you said, the last day now.
Yes.
But in the last few weeks, what we've seen is parties concentrating on their message. This is who we are. This is what we stand for, appealing to their constituencies. I think what you saw in the previous months leading up to that was a lot of talk about, you saw the Moonshot Pact,
yes.
you saw the potential about ANC, EFF, or whatever it was, IFP, and they were talking more about coming together. Now, it seems to me, and I think if one looks at this, that the coalition talk has receded into the background at the moment, because fundamentally the elections are about your party and how you're going to do. The coalitions will come depending upon who gets what.
Yeah.
And so right now, when at the ANC's rally yesterday, you see it's about ANC, it's about the IFP, it's about the DA. It's not about other parties and what we're going to do for the getting together with other organizations and ideologies, but for us, yeah.
Dr. McKinley, there are a lot of polls that we've also seen, some that were done months ago. There'd been also, predictions about, for example, the ANC losing support, the MK party, for example, making inroads. Those are just some examples. Have we seen a shift in recent weeks in terms of what these polls had been projecting?
Yes, I think we have. I think what happened was when MK first came onto the scene, boom, it made an explosion. And all of a sudden, it was like, it's going to poll 15% nationally. Now, if you look at some of the predictions, it's almost coming down to below 10%. I think that's inevitable. What happens is parties make splashes. Initially, people respond very positively to them, but as the waters get contested, and as people start looking at that menu that I was talking about, they might change their minds and they might say, well, actually, no, I'm not going to vote for that party. I'm going to go back to what I'm used to, maybe the ANC or whatever it is. So yes, I think what we've seen is a situation where over the last several months things have stabilized a little bit more. The ANC, which was being predicted to get below even 40%, now most analysts would say, well, I think it's come up a bit. We can still talk about those numbers, but I think the bottom line is that what happens in elections, generally speaking, is you've got an undecided bloc, and that decided bloc then makes their voices very much heard at the end of the day.
Dr. McKinley, I wish we had more time, but please stay with us.
Sure.
There's some of the issues that I want to, of course, have a discussion with you on. And I'm afraid we've run out of time for this particular hour. But of course, we'll continue this discussion with Dr. Dale McKinley, our political analyst, just looking ahead, of course, to, I think it all starts from tomorrow. Yes, it certainly does, with the special votes that will be taking place, as I indicated, on Mxolisi tomorrow, as well as on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, of course, is the big day when we go out to cast our votes, certainly. We'll be back again at the top of the hour. Mxolisi, let me hand back to you for the headline.